Well, hey, welcome everybody to the Friends and Family Summer Reunion that is the best we can do in COVID times. Normally we would be sitting out here this weekend. We'd be sitting in the sun, and we'd be doing some sort of a great meal and fun and laughter and wine and just enjoying the evening. But it's 2020 is a different year, and so this year we decided we would do our Friends and Family Summer Reunion virtually. So Pat and myself. Welcome everybody to the show tonight. And Pat, say hi.
Hello, welcome. Thank you guys so much for joining us in this new endeavor for a live production of our Friends and Family Party. So thanks for joining.
Yeah, absolutely. And normally this would be like when myself or Susie gets up and talks to all you guys when you guys are under the tent and you guys are like, I just want to eat, like where are we, whatever. But instead we get to do it this way. So for those of you who got the pack, I think you guys are in for a super, super treat. Those of you who would like it in the future, we can absolutely get it for you. But to give you a little explanation of what we're going to be doing tonight, we are super, super blessed that we have two really rad things that are happening tonight. One, we're showcasing and releasing this awesome book that Julian Perry put together. And we'll get into that in a little bit. And she'll actually be online with chat that she can be answering questions if anybody has any for that aspect. But also, and we live have our dear friend Josh Henderson, who is the Huxley Wallace Collective. I'm sorry, Huxley Wallace Collective out of Seattle. We've known Josh for a long time. We'll get into that. Like, we all weren't gray. We were young. We ate, we drank, whatever the case is. But we were paired up with Josh in this awesome book. And Josh was kind enough to be able to come over. And he's going to explain and demo how to cook the dishes that are within the book. And so we're going to drink wine. We're going to show you guys how to make these things. We're going to show you what the end results are. Hopefully you guys will all want to be able to go through and make these things, and whatever intimidation you may have is going to be gone. The fun is going to be there. We're going to have wine. We're going to do all these things. But it's going to be a little free flowing. We do have the ability to be able to do chat questions. So if you guys want to type in some questions, we'll absolutely answer them as we go through. Josh, you can get up here in a second and start walking through the longest creating dish, the longest timing dish at that point in time. Show you guys how to do things, and we'll actually taste everything at the end. And then Susie and Marcos will come in a little bit. Braden will come in a little bit. We'll do all those kind of things. So anyway, Pat, do you have anything to add to this?
No, I don't. I mean, this is like the normal part where we talk before the dinner, except for you can put us on mute now. So that's an advantage to being here live. I think let's get to the important part. Let's bring Josh out.
Yeah.
And let's kind of jump into that. And again, thank you guys for joining and engaging with us in sort of this interesting, unique way.
And as always, guys, we always like getting reactions, so please type some stuff in. And you guys, this is our friend Josh Henderson.
Hey, guys.
Huxley Wallace. He's got a bunch of stuff going on in Seattle. Always has. He's one of our favorite chefs that we've ever met. Not only because we have known each other for a long time, but his food is dope. Anyway, Josh, you're having some Merlot there. And I don't know. You kind of want to jump in here? I don't know what you want from us at this stage of the game.
I need you guys to start cutting some onions and no, I'm just kidding.
We can do that. We can do that. Neither one of us are skinny, so we know how to cut an onion. Yeah, we've done that before.
No, we're gonna. So we were able to be paired with this, and we should probably tell the story of how we met.
Oh, God,
10 years ago, we did a dinner here up the road, I think, and I don't even know why we did a dinner.
Lisa.
It
was Lisa.
Lisa Linster.
Yeah, Lisa Linster.
Right, yeah. But we did a dinner, and it was chill. And if you guys are ever in a place that you want to just have a glass of wine, and there's the dogs running around, there's some Adirondacks, and it's just a place where these guys might be walking by, but they may not be. And it's just it's a perfect environment just to come and hang out and just chill. And that was what I remember about the night. And that's probably every night for you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah, that's all we do is eat and drink every night.
That first dinner 10 years ago, whenever it was super
so
fun. We sat in the yard and ate and drank, and then we drank a lot afterwards.
Yes.
Way too much.
In the parking lot out here. Yeah. And then we had someone had that great idea that we should go to the store for more.
Well, the funny part about this dish is that not funny. I mean, I don't think many people are going to be laughing, but it's a winter dish essentially. So we're going to be doing a braised pork with some sage and some fennel and some hazelnuts. I'm going to do some charred carrots with little anchovies and lemon and some cream, and so we can kind of get into that. But they're a little bit heartier dishes, but it's perfect for like a 80-degree day, 90-degree day here in Zilla. A warm,
we're equal opportunity,
deeply rich.
We're equal opportunity. We are equal opportunity.
We're getting prepared for winter.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
we're
totally.
Put it on right now.
But yeah, so as to point clarification, these recipes are actually paired with 2 wines from us within this book. The Washington Wine and Food that Julian put together, and then the foreword was done by Kyle McLaughlin. And we're super fortunate and blessed to be in this thing. Josh was willing to be paired with us, which, I don't know if you drew the short straw or the long straw on that one. We don't know.
The only straw.
The only straw, right? So the cool thing is what you guys are going to be seeing tonight, what Josh is doing, and the wines that you guys have already had, but you guys already have again, is all paired together within the book. So there'll be some symmetry with what's going on.
Do you want to talk about the Merlot first, or?
Sure. Doesn't matter. How do you want to roll?
So
we're good.
I'm gonna get some wood on the fire real quick. Okay. But you guys kill some time, and
well, we kill some time. Okay. Yeah. Great. Jumping jacks. Stretches.
Yeah. So 2017 Merlot is what was paired in the book with the braised pork.
Is this a stave from?
Here's some oak.
We're gonna put this on the fire.
Let's not use that one either. Here's some more.
Oh, this is fun. Anyway, so the red wine paired with the pork is the 2017 Merlot. It's a blend of Copeland and Schmidt Vineyard. Again, 100% estate. We'll let Matt talk about the nerdy winemaking features. I'll talk a little bit about the farming side since that's my end of it.
We'll go get some more.
But yeah, so this is I think 25% Copeland and 25% Schmidt, which are two state vineyards. If you visited us, Schmidt Vineyard is the winery just in front of the winery, and Copeland is our original kind of our flagship site that was planted in 2000. Just up the hill. So I think, Matt, we're talking about a little bit about the 17 Merlot.
Yeah.
What you like, don't like, winemaking style, all the nerddom.
Well, if we're going to bring out the nerddom, we got to have Braden come out here.
Let's actually have Braden talk about the wine. Come on.
All right, so we're gonna bring Braden out for 1 second. Yep. So all you guys know, our Braden. Josh, I don't know if you guys ever met.
Braden, good to meet you.
Yeah.
Braden, Josh, Braden, whatever. Yeah. Braden's actually been working here since he was 17. Wow. He started doing yard work with the air guitars. It was money well spent.
That's the title of a resume. Yard work with air guitars.
It's a unique skill set.
Yeah, it was terrible. So anyway, you guys know Braden, the wine, the Merlot. Braden can probably speak to this a little bit more. Well, we can both speak to it equally, I guess. But I don't know. What were your takes on it, real fast, well, before he gets into the pour?
From what I remember, it was really good.
I know you're 12.
No, I honestly haven't tasted it for quite some time.
So 17 was that year that was like super hot, but super hazy.
Yes,
like the grapes were like they feel the wines.
It was kind
jamminess,
of
like a hot year.
It was kind of a cold year, hot year type of vintage. I mean, it was one of those where making the wine, blending the wine was actually more challenging, but it was a little bit more fun to do because of the fact that it was more challenging. I mean, there were certain aspects of it. I mean, we were pounding our head against the wall with some of them. I think ultimately at the end, though, it turned out really, really well. After it's had more time in the bottle, it's even better. I don't know your thoughts on that. I really enjoy it.
100%. I actually enjoy the 17 a lot more now than when we first released it. I think it's coming to play. I mean, it's really, it's playing nicely with itself. Is really what it's doing. It's really evolved nicely. It's the jamminess and the and the leanness are all just they're kind of harmonious right now.
Yeah,
I mean, in my opinion,
they really are.
So,
what do you think about the wine, Pepper? Huh?
Josh's dog, Pepper.
Yeah, playing nicely with itself is what he said.
Yeah. better than roughly, rather than poorly, I guess, right? Yeah. So anyway, that's a real kind of quick overview of the wines. And when we get into the food, we'll kind of explain why we think it's going to work well together, why we know it works well. Same with the rosé and the carrots. And we go later.
Cool.
So,
all right. So let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. So
man.
the dish that we did with the Merlot is basically a braised pork with sage, fennel, hazelnuts, and that's pretty much it. We deglazed a little bit of Merlot, kind of sort of tie it together. With any braise, though, it's actually, you can kind of interplay anything. So this is a bit of a heavy dish. Sage is definitely a winter kind of sort of feeling, along with fennel is as well. A lot of kind of that licorice sort of flavor. But we have just a sort of standard sort of pork shoulder. I've got a pan heating in the oven, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to season this pretty heavily with some good salt, a little bit of cracked pepper, and you can kind of just like be pretty liberal with it. I've got a pan, and the beauty of being here tonight is that we're going to do everything in the wood oven, and that's just fun. So it's a little bit complicated, but it's fun. So it's more fun than firing up a butane burner or some induction burner, and this is just it's way more interesting. So we got a pan in here heating up. It's pretty hot. I'd say it's probably about like 800 or 900 degrees in there, but you know, we're not going in there, so it shouldn't matter, hopefully. So I've got this pan heating with a little bit of oil. I'm going to sear this. That's the sound you want to hear with a braise or anything that you put into a pan, at least when you are trying to get some color, because the goal is we're going to get some color on the pork, and then we're going to add our aromatics like the onions, the fennel, a little bit of sage. If I had fennel seed, I might even add that. So we'll go ahead and just kind of chunk up the onions. We'll do a little bit of sage, and sage is pretty powerful. It's similar to rosemary in a sense that, like, you know, little goes a long way. Cinnamon is kind of in that same sort of vein. You definitely want to kind of use some restraint with it. So we got a little bit of fennel here as well. And what we're going to do is we're just going to get that pork nicely kind of caramelized, turn it all around. And then we're going to add these aromatics, or mirepoix, you know, we could call them that to some degree. And we'll deglaze with the Merlot, and then we'll create our braise. We got a little bay leaf as well. Bay leaf is one of those things that I highly recommend. It's just like a couple leaves, and like even like a chicken stock or a chicken jus of some sort is just a beautiful sort of way to add a layer of complexity to it. And so you can see this is kind of hot, which is good, super good. And getting some good color. So I'm going to actually, just for the sake of the fact that we're live and trying to keep this moving, I'm going to add the aromatics now around it. And I don't know if you can get any of that.
And the meat absorbs some of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, well, it'll kind of, you know, in a way, it'll smoke. It'll, all of it just sort of perfumes the whole thing, and we'll get that in there, and then we're going to let that go for a bit until we get some good color, and then we'll add some stock and let it kind of go for about a couple hours. But you guys aren't going to be here for a couple hours, but luckily we did one a little bit early, and we can bring that out and show that. So yeah, so that's at least the start of the braise. The thing about braises, though, is that just that I see some black smoke coming out, which is like, you know, it's don't worry about the black smoke. It's gonna be all right. It's not an electrical fire or anything.
You won't get that in your oven.
No,
right?
no.
Yeah.
So
this is wood.
So a braise, the difference between a braise and anything else is a braise is where you take something like a heartier piece of meat. It's more kind of peasant country style cooking, where you would have the tougher cuts of meat and you would let them slowly cook over hours. And it'd be a way to really just infuse a ton of flavor in a piece of meat or protein that typically wouldn't be something that you would grill or serve very quickly. So you're able to like take a pork shoulder, which is in some sense, you know, just a more of a very sort of gristly kind of piece of meat. Ton of sinew, ton of fat. What fat is flavor, and so you can braise that over hours, and it just falls apart and it's tender. And you know, with any kind of meat like that, what you want to do is you sear it, and then you add whatever aromatics. You could do beef, you could do pork. You know, you could add something that has, you know, even chicken can be braised. It's super quick, but I think it's really the most satisfying way to I guess really experience what a tough piece of meat can really be. And then at the same time, you know, you can serve it over something like a polenta. Already we've got a ton of great color on this. It's on the opposite side, and we'll go ahead, since we got this fire ripping. No,
hot in that thing, doesn't it?
We're gonna let this go for just about another minute or so in here, and then we're gonna deglaze with the Merlot. This one? Yeah, we'll do that one. But the part about a braise that's always is it's not a boil. You don't cover the meat. The meat is going to be like the liquid, whether it be a stock or a wine or water or whatever it is always going to be about halfway up. So we're going to deglaze with the Merlot in just a second and let that reduce down. And I don't even, be honest with you, I don't even remember the recipe. So I think that the recipe is generally going to follow this as well as with the carrots. But you get the idea. And I think that people need to maybe, recipes are great. They're a great starting point, but I think they should be more like the trailhead. You start there, and then wherever you end up is on kind of whatever you have in your own kitchen or how you kind of feel the night's going. So I think that, you know, for me, recipes are just more of a starting point than they are just they're a specific path. So we have a few sort of changes, especially on the carrot dish tonight, that we'll go through later on. But let's go ahead and deglaze a little from Merlot. It might even catch on fire. Look at that. Boom, that's tea right there. Woo! All right. Okay. So we're going to let that reduce down a bit. And really all that does is it kind of clears out what's on the bottom. When you're, whenever you're like building any kind of flavors in any kind of dish, it starts with just the very basic sort of fundamentals of like that dish. And so for us, it's fennel, it's sage, a little bit of onion. We're going to add in the Merlot, which, you know, is certainly going to add some sweetness, but what it really adds is acidity to the dish. You know, you don't want something that's just savory all the way through. You want to add a little acidity, and wine is a great way to do that at the beginning part as opposed to the end, because it also then adds a touch of sweetness, and then the nuance of the wine also can come through as well. So that's what we're trying to do at this moment.
And you have like a restaurant version. I would guess there's like a restaurant version, like a home version, right? Is there like massive differences between that or not? I mean, we're trying to produce it for multiple versions.
I have a problem producing small quantities of food. I tend to like when I make
sucks for one.
Yeah, it's just that's true. That could be a T-shirt. But,
it should be, right?
I have a hard time. I always feel like we can either put it in the freezer or leftovers. But yeah, I think when you're doing something in a restaurant, you certainly are, the thing you're thinking most about is what we call the pickup. Okay. So it's like, how am I going to pick it up when a customer orders it? So when we have this, we're obviously it's going to be ready, and we'll eat when it's ready, or we'll set it aside. But in a restaurant, you're thinking about, how am I going to, when somebody orders it, how am I going to make it taste exactly like this would when it's done? And so how you would do that with a braise is you would, for us at least, we would end up a lot of times. Okay, sorry, got to interrupt this. We've got like, as you can kind of see, got some beautiful Merlot. It's just deglazing all the way down. I'm good, I think, for right now. But and then I've also got another pot of stock in here heating up, and we'll go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and add that. That's really hot. And so this is not my typical pan I would use for a braise of just this amount. You'd want it full, but you know, we've got another one coming up in a Dutch oven, and but just for this great viewing vessel for TV, and it shows how it's all in there. But typically speaking, with a braise, you'd want it to be kind of all pretty cozy in there, and so this is for the sake of things. And I say these things because there's probably cooks watching, and they're like, "Why did you put it in a pan that's so big?" And I'm like, "Well, there's the reason why. Okay, so just shut your hole and watch the show." Is what I. So have a settle down.
Enjoy your freaking Saturday night.
Keep the comments.
Yeah, there you go.
Here.
Yeah.
So we'll put the braise in there, and we'll let that go for probably, I'd say like 2 to 3 hours, and we will cover it. And then when it gets tender, because that's kind of the true test of when somebody asks, you know, how long does a braise take? It's as long as it needs, and it could be, you know, could be 2 hours, it could be 3 hours, and so this. For sure. Yeah. And it can get dry. It can go past the point of being to the point where everything is sort of like leached out of it and then become dry. And we've all had dry pot roast before. And that's
grandma's pot roast.
Grandma's
pot roast. Yeah.
But one other thing.
Not my grandma. Not our grandma. Our grandma's pot roast, by the way.
I will say that, like, one thing that you want to do while braising is just take it out every once in a while. Just give it a little bit of help, and spoon a little bit of the liquid over, because this liquid is going to help not only keep it moist, but it's also going to help create your sauce at the end. So, which we'll show. So, that's the start of the pork.
That's the start of the pork,
right there.
Well, I'm getting hungry.
Yeah.
Lunch. I'm getting hungry.
Do we have like the musicians coming in next, or what's the next sort of piece of this? You know, like the marching band.
Jesters coming in. Yeah. The court jester's going to come in. That's Pat. And then Marcos, who's the DJ, he's going to show up in a second.
He's super interested.
Yeah. That looks like a pug. Yeah. All right. Cool. So that's the pork. That seems super simple.
It's simple, and we'll get to the more, you know, in a little bit. We'll strain the sauce and reduce it, and actually, but then we can, you know, in a bit talk about the carrots and do that too, or you can talk about the wine and
absolutely. It sounds great. So, all right, so there we have the pork, guys. That is on of the book that you guys got. That is on page.
Page I don't know.
That's page 207 in the book that you all got when you guys got the thing. And like I said, we're following the book and the wines and whatever, and that is paired with the Merlot. So, you know, pork and, you know, at least for Pat and I and Josh and a lot of us, we like braised pork and Merlot just seem to go really, really well together. Merlot has soft suppleness to it. Pork has this fattiness to it. Flavors go really well together. But you guys have been here. You guys know how we operate, and that's why we have, you know, street tacos and rosé, right? I mean, that's the way we roll here. So that said, before we get into the full introduction of the book and Julene and get into the carrots and whatever, I'd like to introduce Marcos and Susie, who Susie's actually having cold sweats over here, even though it's 85 degrees outside. As much as you guys know, she likes to stand on stage and talk to you guys in person. She's really nervous about the camera. So please send whatever comments you have and questions. So I want to bring up Susie and Marcos for a second, or for a few minutes, however long it needs to be, because, you know, they're definitely part of the team in the wine club and tasting room. And so I'm going to leave it to you guys for a second. Marcos, you got to step over here and get within the fuzzy microphone.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
All right.
Come on, Coaster.
Hi, everybody.
There you go, Coaster.
Hi, everybody. Okay, I'm done.
Oh, stop. There we go. Go
on. No, so I guess I just want to say thank you to all the wine club members, our friends and family. The club keeps getting bigger and bigger, and there's lots of referrals coming through. And so I just want to thank all of our friends and family for sharing our wines and our story with your friends and family. It's paying off for all of us, so it's a win-win. So we've got our fall club shipment coming up the middle of next month. We're going to send out the details the end of August sometime. Wines are still to be determined. So if you have any favorites that you want included in that, shoot me off an email and we'll sit down and discuss it at the round table and see if we can put any of those wines in. It'll be a lot of the 2018 reds. And then, of course, it'll be the new PCS, the Friends and Family label, which I have not tasted yet, but I'm sure that they've done a fantastic job. So that's kind of what we got going on with the wine club. And keep in mind also, you can, the new gig that we have going on with the wine club is you're going to get a link, and that link allows you to log into your membership online, and you can change it from a ship to a pickup. You can add wines, you can change wines, you can kind of customize it the way you want to. So be sure to take advantage of that that new thing that we got going on. And for all of you club members that came to the Seattle pop-up store, thanks, huge success. And I'm hoping that the guys will let us go back the end of September, maybe do like a pickup pop-up store there. Probably not the tasting, but you know what? It's great to see your faces. So, Marcos?
What's going on, guys? This is Marcos here. I'm the tasting room manager here at Two Mountain Winery. Just let you know the status of the winery and the tasting room. We are actually closed as far as the tasting room goes, but we are open for bottle purchases, glass pours. You can come out here and do flights. We'd really love to have you out here. I know things are kind of strange right now, but safety is our number one priority. We just want you to come out here, have a good time. I mean, it's summertime. This is like our busy season. We don't want anybody to be scared to come out here. We take all the necessary precautions, but we want you to come out here and drink our amazing wines. Right now, we're offering Riesling for tasting, Sauvignon Blanc, Limburger. We're doing Show Pony, and we're doing Cabernet Franc as well. So we just want to encourage everybody to come out, come see me, come see the dog that's barking in the background. It's Cash.
We call him Trash Man. Trash
Man, absolutely. Yeah, he's fun. And yeah, we just want you to come have a good time with us. Not a lot's changed, but we just want you to feel comfortable and have a good time with us.
And we want to see you.
Absolutely.
So please come see us.
Yep.
We're open 7 days a week.
10 to 6 every day. We're here. We're not going anywhere.
Come on down. We'll hook you up. All right.
So thanks a lot, guys. We really appreciate you.
All right. Susie, Marcos, you guys, thank you for running the ship. I'm not going to say it's necessarily a tight ship, but it's a ship. No, I'm kidding. No, you guys are rocking it out there. And you guys, they're created a whole new set of rules that change by the hour a lot of times. And these two have been massively adaptable to whatever we need to do based off of whatever Yakima Health Department, Washington State Department of Health, or the national guys are saying. And so, if you come out, these guys are going to help you out. I mean, they're going to do it. And Susie has, obviously, you guys are part of the wine club. You guys, or a lot of you guys are. Susie, you guys know Susie. Don't worry about that. She's got your back.
Got you covered.
Yeah. And so what's actually fun about some of this is that these recipes, Marcos is a foodie. Marcos is a foodie. Yeah. DJ Coaster over
got
here.
it,
He's an absolute foodie. Susie loves food, but she loves her style of food. And so one of the fun things about this evening is that she's all about pork shoulders. That fits, right? She's a little apprehensive about the carrots because of some things that might be in there. But one of the things that we enjoy doing is we enjoy kind of helping pushing her through some of her natural kind of like inhibitions based off of, whatever, when it comes to the food aspect of things. And so this is fun because Susie gets to see how some of these things are made. And one of the comments she had when we started doing this and she saw the recipes that was within the book was, well, how are people going to know how to cook that? And it's a legitimate, that's a straight legitimate question. And so one of the reasons we really decided to do this, and this was primarily based off of Susie's comment, is let's do this so we can break down the intimidation of some of these things. Because, the question that we had earlier from someone about, like, what's the difference between a restaurant recipe and making it, I don't want to say simplified, but making it home cook wise, like, how does that really occur? Really came from what Susie's question was at the very beginning when we showed her the book and all these other things. Is that she's like, look, I like to cook, but this isn't really my style. I don't know if I would be able to do these things. And we said, no, it's really not as difficult as you think it is, nor is it as intimidating as you think it might be. So this is it's not because of Susie that we're doing this, but it is a very, very valid point in the fact that, some of these things that you may read in these recipe books or in these cookbooks or whatever the case might be, they're not as intimidating as you really think they might be. Just like we've always said, and any of you guys that are familiar with the winery, you've all heard Pat, Braden, Marco, Susie, myself talk about wine does not need to be intimidating. Like, you get started into it and it's a yes or no question, basically. And Josh just said the same thing earlier. Like, what? Recipes are kind of a starting point. They're a guideline. And then you can kind of go from there and figure out what fits your style, what fits your mood, what fits your environment, your evening, your comfort level, whatever the case is. And so there's a lot of marriage. There's a lot of harmony between food and like cooking and chefing and winemaking and wine drinking. And a lot of this has to do with basically like the statements that Susie was asking about with some of these things before. And so these are the cool things we're doing. And this is why it's so fun for us to be able to do this stuff. Hopefully it just makes everybody a little bit more comfortable. We'll get everybody out of their comfort zone a little bit. Like, there'll be some green, but it's not going to be guacamole. Don't worry. Nor is it going to be iceberg lettuce. It's going to be fine.
I can now pronounce most of the words in the recipe.
I know, right? I know. It's already a win, right?
I'm stepping it up.
Yeah, Jim, you're welcome. Anyway, so that's kind of that. And these guys are running an awesome ship in the tasting room. So, guys, we'd love to see you guys now that we're open again, and we really appreciate everybody's flexibility with stuff. So, anyway, you guys have anything else you guys want to toss in there?
Just come see us.
Come see us, order wine. It'll come to me. We'll ship it off. If you live in a hot state, don't worry about it. We have all the packaging for insulation and gel pack. So we are kicking it all the time.
But the rosé, the 2019 will be stores. We still have some of the 2018, which is drinking ridiculous, but that's what you have. Is that right?
Yep. Sorry, 2019 rosé in the book sold out, but I do have your hookup for the 2018 rosé. Just shoot me off an email. It's not listed on the website because it's very limited. It was a little secret stash the guys put away that we kind of
just for Susie.
Yep, begged for.
Just for Susie.
Anyway, thanks, and we hope you guys enjoy the rest. And I can't wait to eat some of this delicious food.
Yeah, stay healthy, guys.
All right.
Miss you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Right on. So anyway, you guys, Marco, Susie, awesome job as usual. Josh is kind of tending the coals and getting ready to start the carrots. I'm gonna bring Braden up here for a second. We already had him up here a minute ago, and then we'll bring Pat back up in a second. So actually, maybe we should get Pat up here, as well, but we'll let him keep doing what he's doing over there. So the wines that are paired in the book. So we have the two recipes. We have the carrots and the pork. We've already gone through the pork as far as how to prep it. Josh, don't run off, dude.
Okay, I'm coming.
Don't run off. Don't run off. We need your input here in a second. And we're gonna keep bantering back and forth, whether you like it or not.
Banter.
Yeah, banter. Yeah, banter. Absolutely. So he's got the carrots. No mask on the carrots. We apologize for that.
Yep.
Braden is, he obviously, you guys know us. He's super instrumental in everything we do winemaking wise. And so we had the two wines that were paired with all this stuff, and we'll get into the introduction of Julene in the book and talk about a little bit more about, all that kind of stuff. But real quick, we have the carrots are paired with the rosé, and the pork was paired with the Merlot. What is it about the rosé that you are digging that you like with that kind of stuff?
The
19.
Yeah. Kind of like all of our rosés. The style that we go for, kind of that off dry, more dry side of things, right? So it's not that overly sweet, but it's still got a lot of really rich flavors, really great acidity. So for a day like today, where it's mid 80s or even hotter, it's the perfect wine. To either enjoy by itself and really even pairs with anything. It's a fantastic wine. I don't know. How about you?
I'm digging these wines. I think the 17, we already talked about the Merlot a little bit. We think why we would go well with it because Merlot has that good acid to go with the fattiness of pork and the flavors of the savory herbs that were in there for the aromatics. And then the rosé, I think, is going to go great because it has not only the structure to me stand up to carrots, but then what he's doing with carrots with the anchovies and everything else, I think that has the acidity to kind of stand up to it.
Yeah.
But it has the flavor components of that kind of like rhubarb and like raspberry and oranges and all kinds of stuff that go along with it that I think kind of would fit, but we're talking to the pro right next to us. So I mean, I don't know. You and I are two slubs that sit in the country and try to make wine.
I'm the
This,
third
this,
club.
this is fancy cooking for me. So.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot like Susie.
This ain't a Totino's, man. I'm good. I'm happy
I
right
don't know,
now.
man. I would love to do a demo with Totino's. Like,
Don't
hit us
tease
up,
me.
Totino's, if you're around. Let's
Yeah,
do it.
absolutely. Yeah.
Two Mountain and Totino's all day.
Yeah, absolutely. Pizza rolls or pizzas?
You got the key with Totino's though is that the rolls you got to let them sit because if you put them in the oven and pull them and try and pop them in your mouth, it's like eating lava.
They're too hot.
Yeah, you can't do it.
Yeah, and the pizza's the same way. It's like a square shingle of lava at that point in time.
And as like a parent,
Yeah.
like one of the things you can pass down to your kids is like don't eat the Totino's pizza rolls too early.
No, you gotta let it rest like a steak.
Wait. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, 10 minutes. You gotta let it down.
All
10
the
minutes.
same.
Yeah, exactly. That sweet like tomato thing they have on there.
Tomato lava.
Yes,
Tomato sugar lava.
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. So,
So whoever's enjoying Totino's right now,
you're lucky.
if you are, that would be amazing.
Well done. Well done, all.
Yeah.
Well done.
Well played.
Yeah. Well played. That's exactly right. So I don't know. Cool.
Carrots.
I mean, you want to start rocking the carrots? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, so the carrots, they're super. I mean, you were going to char them, and they have obviously that kind of umami from the fish or the anchovies, and the acidity from cream and lemon, and so I mean that's it's definitely something that would pair well with something that's bright. Definitely something that it wouldn't. It would, I honestly, I'll drink wine with anything. And, I think pairing's an interesting thing to discuss, but, who are we kidding? We're going to eat something and drink wine no matter what it is, whatever we have in the closet, so.
And ultimately, guys, this is actually why we started getting along with Josh so well about 10 or 12 years ago, is we all have kind of the same mentality as we love the traditional side of things, but we're also not afraid to do the eat what you want, drink what you want. And damn it, it's going to probably be okay.
Yeah, I 20 years ago, I helped open a restaurant, and I was actually the wine director. It was right out of culinary school, and I was hired as the wine director. I didn't know shit about wine. I knew enough to get an A in wine class at culinary school, but I got hired as a wine buyer. Long story short, the place went bankrupt, which is not a surprise for a restaurant. So the wine was the doors were locked, and I ended up going to the wine room and grabbing a couple cases because I knew it was my last day and I was not going to ever see that wine again. And I built the wine list, and I ended up drinking that wine with pizza and just whatever else for the next 2 or 3 months when I was just depressed about losing a job. And so, long story short, drink wine with whatever. Just,
you were depressed, but your taste buds were happy.
I was drinking some delicious wine, like Stag's Leap, whatever, from some big red from Napa, with Pagliacci pizza at that time, and so
it's still one of my favorite combos ever. Is like just a good red and Pags, man. I mean, whether it's straight pepperoni or Brooklyn Bridge, it's all good. So,
right.
Yeah. So, all right, Braden, this is kind of out of your box. Do you have any questions for him for carrots with anchovies and stuff?
I mean, I don't think I've ever tried anchovies based off of the fact that
they're anchovies.
It's never appealed to me. And carrots are not necessarily my go-to veggie. But
really, what's your go-to veggie? Do you have a go-to veggie?
Hamburgers, cheeseburgers, something like that. No, I mean, like carrots. Carrots are kind of
vegetarians. You got that right.
Yeah. Well, the problem with carrots is a lot of times they're too mushy. Like they're just like sweet and mushy. And
so what are you doing there? I mean, interrupt for 1 second.
I am basting the pork, and I am just gonna keep doing this, and over the course of every 20 to 30 minutes, just go in there and baste the pork and get it so that you're not only creating the sauce is getting flavor from the pork, but the pork is getting flavor from the sauce. And it's just kind of this cycle. And you just want to kind of create that cycle over and over and over and over again. Yeah. And where you do it, it helps. It's like, it's a little thing, but it's a little thing that you're like, makes it not grandma's pot roast, but
not our grandma. Her pot roast is good.
Yeah, that's right, grandma.
Good save on that, by the way.
Yeah, Phyllis, your pot roast is awesome.
Phyllis, Phyllis is. I love that's a classic grandma name right there. Phyllis is a great grandma name.
Well, our grandfather
Mine was Dorothy.
Well, our grandfather was
Or
Phil.
Jack.
We had Phil and Phyllis.
Oh,
It was fantastic.
wow.
It's like Charlie and Chocolate Factory, Joe and Josephine, and
It was awesome.
George and Georgina.
Yeah. Oh man, two of the greatest. But yeah, okay. So yeah,
no, but I'm actually, like, I'm never shy to try foods, even if it's something that's not necessarily in my wheelhouse.
This will be good.
And it smells great.
Braden's the one person in the entire 5 of us that has actually been someplace outside of the country purposely to go wine tasting. So he, yeah.
Briefly, but
yeah, but you did it though. So
Canada?
No. Oh, right. Yes.
I ventured to the northern parts.
To the northern. No, where'd you go?
Went to France. We did a little bit in the Champagne region and worked our way south down through Burgundy. Actually, after
So fatty foods.
after shooting east over to Alsace.
Yeah.
So
It's amazing there.
It was a great trip, and we tried a lot of great wines. Actually had some really expensive wines that I will never ever drink again, and I couldn't pronounce even if I tried. But it was a fantastic trip and a great experience.
It's amazing how good wine tastes over there. When you're there, you're like, it just tastes completely different.
Yeah.
And it makes you end up buying wine, and you're like, why did I buy that case of wine?
It was fucking good. Yeah.
All right. Should we talk quickly about carrots?
Let's start with the carrots.
Okay.
And then we'll grab Pat as we're doing this stuff. Got to talk about the book and the carrots and the wines and all this other stuff. So
Okay.
Yeah.
So the carrots, the story on the carrots is that I did a cooking competition show, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago called Knife Fight on Esquire, and one of the ingredients was carrots. The other one was hemp hearts, which was the odd ingredient. And at the time, I kind of made this dish up at the moment, and there was a kind of this big Jasper kind of grill that they had, and I just threw the carrots I wanted to char the carrots on the coals. And so we're going to do exactly the same thing here. Whereas in the recipe, it talks about charring them in a broiler, but really the way to do it and how we've done it at other restaurants that we've had in the past, restaurants that haven't, we've had to close because not enough people ate there, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. But we've done these in the past where we throw things directly on the coals. And it's something that a lot of people don't typically do, but the coals are kind of perfect right now. I don't know if you can see it, but they've got the coals in there. They're working a bit, and I'm just going to throw the carrots right on them. We'll just kind of turn them a bit.
So if you don't have coals, can you like straight in the oven or straight on your propane grill or something like that? If you wanted,
you could do it right on a grill. That's another way to do it, or a broiler. Another way to do it, or a torch. You have a big old torch. Just take the carrots and torch them. Since we have this, we're going to go ahead and throw them right there.
And why do you do it straight on the coals of the torch or the grill?
Why would I do it instead of?
No, I mean, I understand this, but why would you do it in the method of right on the fire rather than in a pan or in an environment?
It looks way cooler.
We're vain, so that works.
Totally.
Yeah, we're totally vain. That works.
And at the same time, it creates more of a skin in a way, like a pellicle, if you will, like when you have salami, you have that sort of like that thing that kind of skin you have to peel off, and that's where when you cook something like a carrot or whatever it could be, even meat creates that too, creates that sort of skin on the outside that it ends up you can either eat it as part of it, and you kind of pull off that sort of outer layer, and I enjoy that outer layer.
I just eat the outer layer.
I do. Some people don't, though. And so this is something that's kind of a similar thing where you would have a carrot and just char on the outside, and it's going to be part of the bite. And it's not something you want to eat just on its own, like you wouldn't want to eat just the char of something, but incorporated into the whole bite, you have the layers of it. You got the sweet carrot, you got the char. We're going to have the salty anchovy, a little bit of lemon, some cream. And it's going to, in some sense, hopefully balance and then, be able to pair really well with the rosé. But here's hoping.
Oh, I know.
I don't know.
I know. Will.
Toss
I mean,
up right now.
I don't know.
So I got
Carrots and salty fish and rosé go well together. They just do.
Yep. So we can, I can either keep going on the prep. You want to bring it? Pat, how you doing there, Pat? No, Pat doesn't want to come in. He's shaking his head.
Pat can come up here as well. So why don't we continue with the prep, and we'll continue with we'll just kind of go back and forth kind of over the top of each other if we can. Because one of the things that we have the questions that at least I have the question when I get on the street, when I go on the road, when I go to different markets, whatever, is people are always asking about rosé. And the bigger question isn't about rosé, it's do you grow it for rosé? Do you make it for rosé? Like how is this done? And those of you who are part of the wine know us really well know that we're all state fruit, so we kind of like fudge some things here and there. But the rosé is one of the things that I think we're actually a little bit more unique for, because we actually grow it for rosé. And then we do sampling for rosé, and we do all kinds of things, right? Yeah. So this is like the three of us here together that do the rosé thing. Like, and Pat, from a vineyard standpoint, like, I'd love to hear about like what is it on the vineyard side, like growing something for rosé rather than making rosé as a secondary product. Like, what is it from the growing perspective that allows you to be able to not only do so, but also allows it to be ultimately what and we have thought this for a very long time, makes it almost like a better wine when you're trying to pair it with foods when it's grown for that, rather than, as a secondary product.
I just think it's being intentional. I mean, we stumbled upon it being intentionally growing rosé and not just taking regular red wine grapes that were intended to make Cabernet Franc with and making rosé out of, but really farming to a rosé standard and defining some protocols of what we were trying to achieve as really something we kind of stumbled upon doing, because we had a couple of blocks that were kind of different and they had some nuance to them, and they ended up working really well for rosé. And we kind of light bulb moments, we can reproduce this. And so what we do when we're growing grapes for rosé is we grow a bigger canopy, we irrigate it significantly more. For growing red wines, we're going to really limit irrigation and keep a compact canopy and really balance fruit load. And for rosé, we're going to grow this big giant canopy and leave a lot of shade. And we're actually going to hang a little bit higher fruit load, more grapes per plant. And that shade's going to create more fruit forward finished wines and retain some acidity. That higher crop load, we're going to be able to slow down the sugar accumulation, but also while we're developing phenolics, but still pick the grapes at 21.5 or 22.5 bricks. So significantly lower sugar, so we can end up
still ripe, still ripe, but not sweet.
Ripe flavor profiles that we're looking for, but have a finished rosé in the 12% alcohol range, 12.5%. So you're not balanced, so you're not overpowering it. So I think that's kind of just from the viticultural perspective. I think it's being intentional with those blocks and looking for those, identifying those blocks and really farming for that rosé standard and that rosé style that you're trying to make, and working with the winemakers. We sell rosé blocks to 20 different winemakers, all different varieties, and what we're trying to achieve for each of those wines is different, and it really makes a difference on the finished wine making.
Is there, and I know this answer, so I'm just asking it for you guys.
Coy.
Oh, sly. I prefer sly, not coy. Sneaky. Ooh, I like that one. Sneaky's good too. And creepy. Yeah, that works too. Do you notice a difference from? I mean, we notice a difference on the winemaking side, right? I mean, but do you notice a difference from the viticultural side? Like, do you notice like the plants look different, the crops look different, the grapes look different, though, whatever the case is, other than the fact that they're just a little more cropped than what the reds are or whatever? You notice a difference. You notice that when you're doing the sampling, are you noticing a difference in structure and flavor as well? Like, is it just strictly like we're gonna grow this for a rosé and call it good and pair it with some carrots and fish?
No, you can definitely see a different, the color accumulation. I think a big difference too is when we're hanging these higher crop loads and growing these bigger, bushier canopies and not shoot thinning, we're ending up with more clusters per plant. And with that, the clusters are significantly smaller. So a plant will compensate itself. And if it has 20 clusters, they'll be Y size. If they have 40, they'll be smaller than that. So we end up with smaller clusters. We're purposely farming for bigger berries, so we have less color out of it. So we can actually have some more skin contact time. But the vines definitely behave differently. The fruit tastes different.
Is it frustrating because you're like, shit, this should be ripe?
No, I think I do get impatient because
Marco's laughing over in the corner over there.
If I put my peer grower hat on, I want to get all the grapes picked as soon as we can and then go on vacation. But
right.
But no, I think it's important. I enjoy growing rosé and the intentionality behind it. I think and the wines are just definitely better. So from a winemaking perspective, you guys have made rosé for ourselves and for others from intentionally grown rosé fruit versus not. What do you see as those nuanced differences?
I think it's a lot easier to work with. I mean, good wine starts with good grapes, and I don't.
Sorry, this pork looks really fucking good right now.
Yeah. Pat, you just got the Pat F-bomb because it was that good. It's that good looking right now. So.
But no, I think it's a lot easier to work with. I mean, you're not trying to force flavor into the wine. You know, you could start with the intentionally grown grapes for that type of program. And then what we do in the cellar is just ferment it real slow. And it helps.
I love the way Pug's the way.
It just looks like at home, like our dog laying in the kitchen while we're cooking, always in the way.
He's down here
like,
the whole time.
Right in the way. I love it.
Here the whole friggin' time. Anyway.
We cut you off.
Can I continue this time?
No.
But we ferment the rosé super, super slow. I think last harvest it took a month and a half to get through.
Long.
But I mean that's intentional, right? We ferment it that way and cold so that it helps get that fruit forwardness. It helps have those rich flavors. It retains that bright acidity, and it doesn't get to be too much of the alcohol type of flavor. You know, if you ferment it too quick, you end up with a wine that's super flat. It's real boring. You end up with a lot of issues in the cellar.
So basically, we get a little more flexibility when it's grown for.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That makes sense. Josh, have you ever noticed from a restaurant chef wine buyer for 2 weeks type of aspect, like when things are grown specifically for programs versus just kind of made, or is that actually ever spoken to you guys in that aspect?
You mean like you're growing a wine for us?
No, like growing it for a specific style. Like we grow it for rosé rather than make it Saunier method, or we something of that nature. Have you ever? Because I know you've had like sales guys that come in and be like, this is made in this such a way. Like right? This is made in a Saunier method, and this is made like blah blah blah. Like all the pretentious crap that's out there.
Yep.
You've tasted a lot more wines than we have, right?
That's probably not true. Well, I mean, I've drank.
You were a wine director for a week.
I was for like a week.
Yeah. So you
right
drank at least 40 more wines than we did.
I did.
Yeah. So
if you factor in those 2 cases of wine you took home, you got paid a lot for that week.
I did.
Yeah, you got. That's actually really well said.
Because I chose the right one to take.
Yeah, exactly. Special circles on
That's
it.
right.
Yeah. But I mean, have you ever noticed like when people come in and try to like sell you? It could be with food as well, right? Yeah. Like whatever the case is, you see a lot of products that are brought to you and been like, I mean, I don't want to say it's a bill of goods sold to you, but there's definitely some marketing material.
We kind of talked a little bit earlier about how, that it's really about the story and that you're telling, and all of this stuff is, I mean, any wine against any other wine, it's so microscopic in some regards is what's different and what people want or what would resonate with them. And what really we connect with is ultimately when it comes to a lot of times is selling is the relationship that we have with people and believing that what they're telling us is true. And that's just the nature of, I think, all of it. It's just about the relationship that you build with somebody, and the relationship that you have with this wine is about the relationship that you would have with you guys and the story that you tell, whatever that story is, right? I mean, it could be a story of like, you guys out wandering the vineyards talking to the grapes at like 1 a.m. I don't
Makes
know.
all the difference.
Yeah.
It makes all the
You've
difference.
been watching.
Yeah, I've been on the cameras. But, so no, I mean, to answer your question, I'm honestly the wrong person. I think to ask that, because I find that a lot of that is just a crap, and I think that it's a lot of
Show.
I think it's a lot of what it comes down to is wine is tasty. Find the one that you like, and then if you can find out more about it and how it's made and the story behind it, then it gets even more interesting, and you get to find out then who made it, and then you get to visit the winery and find out who made it. Then that's even more interesting, and so that for me is where you really get to like understand sort of the full nuance of it.
And this, folks, is why we're friends.
The funny thing is we go the opposite direction. We say the same thing about restaurants and chefs.
Well, this is exactly
that's
why our relationship goes back 10 or 12 years. That's like find a wine. Like you can get the only question you need to answer about a wine, and all the snobby BS and the magazines are fine, all this stuff. But like at the end of the day, the question you have to answer is, I like that. I'd like to taste more of that, or I don't like that. My palate doesn't like it. I'd like to try something else. Yeah. You can choose to get like as nuanced beyond that as you want, and into why it was made that way and how it was made that way and what achieved that. But like at the end of the day, it's like this wine tastes good, and I'm having it with food that I enjoy, with people that I enjoy. When I think about my favorite wines that I've had, it's not about the wine. It's about who I was with and where. Mm-hmm. And the wine in my mind, like the wines when you're in France and they taste better.
Yeah.
It's not the wine tastes better. It's that in the place and the people and like that's what it's about. And that's kind of been our approach forever, is like just drink wines you like with good people and good food. And if that's a box of pizza or Totino's or kick-ass looking pork in a wood oven, like all of those things are acceptable.
Yeah. I mean, and people our wine club members that are part of this, that they're on here tonight, they know that about us. I mean, the beers are the same. They're the same method. And that's the great thing about it. I mean, it's just,
see these carrots.
I mean, it's great. So Josh's getting ready to pull the carrots straight off of the coals. When he pulls off the carrots, he's talking about them, like what he's going to do to them. And then in between that and him pulling off the pork to show you guys what the pork looks like, I do want to talk about the book and the author real fast. She unfortunately was not able to be here tonight because I screwed up. Plain and simple, that's on me. That's not on her. That was on me. I thought I sent an email and all the details. I did not. Julene, I'm sorry. My bad. And everybody, but the book is super rad. I want to get into the food while it's still hot, and then we'll talk about the stuff, the book and the recipes and stuff in a minute. If anybody has any questions, please start shouting them out. Type that stuff out, because we'll really start getting into that stuff in a second. But Josh, talk about the stuff, because like very few people cook carrots right on coals.
Yeah. So the carrots, these are the carrots. I don't know if you can see these very well at all, or so these are charred. They look a little sad, at least in this venue. But the best part is that I like carrots that have a little tooth to them, like al dente, not mushy, not like canned carrots. But the best part about cutting into a charred carrot is that when you do, especially if you can do this, is it just like it's so bright. It's like almost like that egg yolk that you get from that farmer's market that's beautiful. So that's the best part about a charred carrot. And so we're gonna quickly just do some things that we're gonna put with it. Got a pan here going. I'm going to the difference on this recipe that I'm going to do is that in the book I talk about using heavy cream, and since it's summertime and I wanted to do something kind of more room temp, we're going to use some creme fraiche. We're going to still do the anchovies with breadcrumbs. And anchovies are one of those things that a lot of people, they smell fishy because they are fish. So you gotta get used to the fact that they smell fishy.
It's bait.
It is.
And it tastes delicious.
But they also are a lot of very similar to wine in that they have been sitting in a barrel for a while, and they're going to take some time, and they're going to get to your mouth, and you're going to enjoy it in the form of whether it's a Caesar salad or on a pizza or with some carrots. So we got some anchovies here, and I got a pan. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just cut a couple up, and you don't need a lot. I mean, really just a few of them. We'll kind of perfume them. And I'm going to go ahead and just give them a rough chop.
And that's different from a fine chop.
It is. It's. I'm getting rough with them. I'm kind of like, I'm thinking.
I mean, but you're talking eighth inch pieces or 16th inch pieces.
Yeah, like a medium dice is what we would call this.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of this oil from the anchovy tin. I'm going to add some anchovies to this. You can hear it. And I'm going to add a little bit of onion. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of let that go for a second. And that's going to get going. And then I've got some breadcrumbs that I've toasted off already, but I'm going to go ahead and get them even more kind of caramelized and toasty with the anchovies. And then we're going to use the cream and the, is she having a hard time over there?
She might be.
It's okay. I think she should take a bite of it without even, just take a bite. And on camera,
I think so too.
I am totally fine if she.
No, you.
I think you should. There's no ranch dressing either.
The anchovy?
It's okay.
Right? No, I mean a lot of people can't. I mean,
No, she'll be fine.
I'm afraid.
Don't be afraid.
Over here.
You were afraid of crudité until we told you it was just cold carrots.
Crudité or crudité. I mean,
either way.
Potato.
Yeah. What? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. No, she. No, a year ago, literally a year ago today, she's sitting out here eating carrots and hummus, and she's like, "Oh, that's pretty good." She's like pinpricking the hummus, and she's like, "Oh, that's kind of good." And we're like, "Well, do you like crudité?" She's like, "Well, no, I don't know what that is." And we said, "Are you sure?" And she's like, "Well, no, I don't know what it is." And then we're like, "It's just cold vegetables." She's like, "Oh, well, yeah, I like them." So
that's a tough one. Not
Yeah,
cold vegetables.
Yeah. Susie, you're gonna try this.
Ooh,
I mean, you don't have to.
Yeah, we do.
Like off camera, like maybe, but
You want to
because all 20 people here that are watching. You want to preface this? Is that what you're after?
I mean, Marcos will eat the shit out of this. Where did DJ Coaster go?
What is it?
Oh, umbrella.
I know.
Hi, Pepper.
I know.
Pepper.
I can't believe she doesn't like anchovy either. It's
I know,
crazy.
Right?
So one quick question that came in, Josh.
How do you eat? How do you eat
You
Caesar salad?
don't have a wood-fired oven. You guys went into it a little bit, and you had to choose between a grill or a broiler.
Grill.
How would you do the carrots?
I'd lay them on. So a lot of times the grills, you don't want to. You could easily lay them crosswise on the grate. But what I do is I'd let them sit in each grate, and then just kind of rotate them as they get dark, and they'll blacken the whole way around. You want them black pretty much all the way around. But the best part is when they get to that point, then they're pretty pretty done. So
they're al dente in the middle, but not
that's right.
Soft and squishy.
They're almost like they saw the crudité and they're like, peace out, I'm going to the next one, which is fully done.
They're not potluck soft, they're just good.
Yeah, exactly.
No one likes potluck soft carrots.
No.
Well, and the other quick question was in sort of tips for food and wine pairing, I guess both from winemaker, and a chef's perspective. We went into a little bit from a very simplistic standpoint. If it tastes good eating it and tastes good drinking it, awesome. But if you want to get a little more sophisticated from that, are you guys looking at yin and yang, like balancing, like what is that just for the,
Well, I think one of the, I remember, I can't remember, it was like one of the first things we talked about, I remember learning in school, fried chicken and champagne.
Oh,
and
one of my favorite combinations ever.
And if you think about it, it's similar to what a lot of originally would be like foie gras and
Chardonnay.
Yeah. And you want, it is a little bit yin and yang to me, at least. I like acidity. I like brightness. And acidity to me doesn't necessarily mean sour. It means something that's more kind of creates that sort of saliva in the mouth, like mouth watering. You want that to be able to cut through things that are fatty, things that are maybe bitter, things that are sort of on the opposite end of that is where I would think about how to sort of pair something. So if I were to grill a fish, depending on the fish, let's just, you could say like let's say salmon, I guess.
Yeah.
Salmon, a grilled salmon is typically going to be a little more fatty than most fish to some degree. It's going to have more of that sort of like fishiness to it.
gamey. Yeah.
And so you want something that's maybe not so. I mean, a Sauv Blanc would probably be fine with it, but a lot of times you go more like the Pinot Noir or sort of a Grenache or something like that, in that kind of range. But we don't have those here, so we
Lemberger.
Lemberger, Merlot.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Live tea, we totally burned because I was talking about this. We burned our anchovy breadcrumbs, but
I blame Pat.
and I can't even go with it because we already have charred carrots, so I can't do charred breadcrumbs.
Well, then
So
throw them.
we're gonna do it.
I blame
Put 'em
Pat for
right
interrupting.
in the fire.
Start over.
Yep, start all over.
I blame Pat.
That's-
Little brothers.
That's totally on me.
That's a little
Yeah.
brother right there. Or younger brother.
I
He's
do
not-
apologize
he's
for burning
not
the
little.
carrots.
No, it's
He's
good.
Burning the breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
It's either that or nuts. You usually burn that or bacon. Those
Yeah.
are the
Have you
three
watched
things.
me cook secretly? Because that's what I'll do.
Everybody does.
Oh, I'm just gonna toast these nuts, or I just want to get this garlic fried up a little bit, and then turn attention, and it's fucking black, and
Yeah.
you're like, motherfucker, house smells terrible.
Well, there's that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Bleep 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 bleep.
Yeah,
Is
you
there a
guys
delay?
are bleeping this,
There's a
right?
delay, right?
Yeah. We're giving you the authentic
Yeah.
farm.
The authentic
Feature
2 Mountain
here.
Farm life.
dinner movie right here, right? I mean, from a winemaking perspective, I mean, we're kind of like Josh. I mean, it's a little yin and yang, but there's also kind of what do you enjoy? Personally speaking, he used the example of salmon. I would prefer Lemberger or Grenache or Merlot than Pinot Noir. I think Pinot Noir gets
Played out.
and it gets overpowered too easy. Salmon's kind of gamey, man. I mean, I mean, you have about a 3-second window before it's undercooked or overcooked, generally speaking, and
2.0.
and I prefer something that has a little bit more acid to it when those kind of things. But fried
What
chicken
kind of white one would you pair with the salmon? Then?
with white wine,
Chardonnay. Something
Chardonnay.
bigger.
Yep.
I would think something bigger.
I would
Less lean.
I might do a Grenache Blanc
Yeah.
combo. I mean, if there was something like that, I mean, something that has some structure but some acid to it. Riesling and Sauvignon Blanc are probably. I don't think they'd work very well. I mean, unless you're doing like more sashimi aspect of it. But I think Grenache Blanc, a more Burgundy rather than California style Chardonnay, I think would be good with salmon. Just because it has some structure, but has some acid and has some
So
fruit.
there's a really long answer from 5 people on a
I
simple
don't even know if
question.
we answered it, but
What was?
At the end of the day, there's a balance. The goal of food and wine is that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts.
Yes.
That sounds very simple. It's harder to achieve, but boiled down is food that you like and wine that you like should work well together. But
It's
balancing flavors is
This
kind
is
of the
great
goal.
ones to Alsace, Alsace with everything.
but sausage. I mean, Alsace is braised meats,
Oh, yeah.
it's sausage, it's charcuterie.
Blood sausage.
I mean, it's like white wine.
And super
Yeah.
bright, and that acidity is
Yes.
cutting through the fat,
That's
right?
100%.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, I mean, and red wines and red meat, that traditional pairing is tannin is balancing out. I mean, there's a chemical fact that is that tannin and proteins are opposite structures, and so there's actually science working behind that. But I mean, that's the kind of behind that. But that acidity in red wines, and why, from a winemaking perspective, these guys will often talk about that wine's fine, but it's kind of a cocktail wine. It doesn't have enough acidity. I mean, it won't pair well with food.
Yeah.
It tastes great by itself, but when you add some fattiness to it and that big fatty thick wine on the palate, they're not as appealing. So that acidity to me, for my own palate, is the most important thing for food pairing. That can it hold up to the food?
Totally. It's the same thing if you have a burger, you want pickles on it, or if you have a banh mi, you want pickled vegetables, or whatever. There's always some sort of acidity that needs to be in there in order to make you taste the other parts. Because if you don't have that in there, you don't taste it.
Mhm.
And if you just have savory, you don't taste all the elements of it. So I agree. And I actually think that it goes in multiples of ways, and where a lot of times we just talk about acidity, but it could be even the sweetness of it. If you're talking about a dish, I love, and I think that a lot of people do, but adding salt to desserts. Salt with sweet is super important. And so having that sort of balance to bring out the other aspect of it is crazy important.
Mhm.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. All right, these didn't burn.
Ooh.
Okay. So these are
I don't blame Pat.
those are the anchovy breadcrumbs. So I think we're pretty like I don't know how long. Where are we at right now time wise?
We are
Whatever
we're
we
an
want.
hour at 15 right now, so we're getting
Wow,
close.
we need to. I think we need to plate up.
Yep.
I think we're gonna.
Let's plate up. I do want to talk real fast. This book was done by Julene Perry. It's 40 wineries, 40 restaurants, chefs, 80 recipes, 80 wines. So it's two wines per winery, 2 recipes per chef. This is actually Julene's second book. If you guys have not got it through us, get it through someone. I mean, all the copies we have here are signed by her. And then Pat and I will each sign the ones that have not been sent out yet. Anyway, it's a fantastic book. We felt really, really privileged to be part of it, and then obviously to be paired with our homeboy Josh here. I mean, it was one of those things where she said, "Hey, who do you want to be paired with?" We're like, "Who do you have?" And she listed off all these names. We're like, Josh. We want Josh. That's all we want right there. And so anyway, we feel super, super fortunate to be included in this because if you guys haven't seen this before, the wineries in there are top notch, and we're honored to be part of this whole.
For the club members watching, you got the book. If you want to give it away, we do have some more signed copies.
Mhm.
We'll leave the packs up for club members for a little while longer. So the 2 wines and the book, it'll be a signed copy. If you have read through the book and enjoy it, give the book an Amazon review of what
Absolutely.
you think.
Absolutely.
It's really great. It's great for the wine industry. It's really great for the chefs. It's just a great asset for the community as a general.
Yeah, we're super
So
fortunate
read it.
to have
My
this kind of
wife read it
resource.
like a novel. She was through it in a hurry and super impressed. So anyway, there's the book. It's awesome. Read it, review it, buy it.
Yeah.
If you don't have it already, buy it. If you do have it already,
Yeah, we're super fortunate to have this kind of talent
plating.
within the state of Washington. Wines, restaurants, chefs, wines, restaurants, chefs, authors, and it's awesome. This actually was the foreword was written by Kyle McLaughlin, who is the Yakima native. You guys know him from Hollywood, whatever, but he also has a winery down in Walla Walla. And anyway, so you guys look it up, send it to your friends. Holidays are right around the corner, whatever the case is. But now we're also going to get into the plating aspect of things. So we're going to turn it over. Yeah.
Well, you guys can sit here and just like.
Eat.
So,
Should I
we're
just take off the top there? or what?
Totally,
Is this like Thanksgiving where I get to pull the good pieces off if you hang out in the kitchen?
Pull the skin off the turkey or what?
Yeah, so we're just gonna
Susie, come on up. Come on, Susie.
I mean, you don't have
So
to,
actually,
Susie.
I
don't
wanted
want
to say
like,
one thing
weird
really quick.
Yeah,
When you guys
please
were
do. Please do.
were talking about this cookbook thing, and you were saying, just order it online, whatever. Okay, so our friends and family pack is only $15 or $50, and it's free shipping. This retails for $30. So for the friends and family pack, you're getting this book and a bottle of rosé and a bottle of Merlot for $50 flat delivered to your door. So
And if you didn't know, her nickname around here is Susie Hardsell McFerrin. So she is all about it. No.
We're kidding. No,
no, shoot me an email, go online. Yeah.
She's absolutely serious. It's a sweet process. It's a sweet book. We like Washington State is super awesome in the fact that we have world-class chefs, world-class vineyards, world-class wines, and world-class authors. And Julene, if you're still watching, thank you so much for including us in all this and pairing us up with our friend Josh and whatever. And Lisa, I don't know if you're watching or not, but Lisa is still she's a linchpin in this whole crew. I mean, she's literally like this tall.
Make sure that the kids don't get injured tonight, Lisa.
Yeah, I mean, like Lisa's literally like this tall, but she is a linchpin. So she's shorter than you are.
Can they like zoom
Oh my
in
God,
on
can't
this?
see ever.
Like check that out, man.
It makes
That's
you want to
like
eat it, doesn't it?
perfection.
That looks
Yeah.
so good.
Are the pieces on the bottom less anchovy?
No, there's the breadcrumbs are the ones that the anchovy part.
So I can like mess the stack up and pull from the bottom?
Totally. Yeah.
Awesome.
Nope. You have to pull from top. Take the
And then-
anchovies.
There's, look at that.
Well,
Ooh.
we're
I'm all about meat and potatoes.
We are. Yeah. We don't have any
How
potatoes
about meat and
tonight, but
carrots?
we definitely.
Meat and carrots.
Yeah.
With
It's a
anchovies.
root vegetable. It's like the same thing.
Yeah, they're the same family.
Okay.
So
That
I mean,
looks
this
so
is we're
good.
kind of going quickly through this, but
Yeah.
basically this was a braise that we had before this, and as you can see, it's got some great great color on it, and the sauce is
let's
reduced down a bit. And we can kind of garnish with a little bit of fennel.
Just put it right where the bucket is, Pat. Right in front of the bucket.
Come on, Pat. Come on, Pat.
I know. This is little brother getting busted
screwing
on
it up, man.
And
so why the fennel on top? Like, what does the fennel do with the flavors?
We're just garnishing with a bit, and we also there was hazelnuts. We're jumping ahead, but I like this. Is great. We're just kind of like we're cooking now. So it's like instead of like talking about it, we're doing it.
I thought those were chickpeas.
There was a Ziploc bag. Did you see that anywhere? It was like right here. I hid it right here.
I didn't.
All right, never mind.
Was it your weed stash or what?
Yeah, it was my weed stash, my mushroom bag. All right, so we want to with I think hazelnuts, especially well toasted hazelnuts, ones that you don't toast in the pan. If you're toasting your nuts, toast them in the oven. Don't do it in the pan. Just it
smells so
unless
good.
they're pine nuts. Pine nuts are fine in the pan.
You all wish you had a scratch and sniff camera right now.
That's like Emerald's
A
joke.
little bit of hazelnuts.
Was that really? Did he say that?
Oh, in 2003 when he used to be on TV, yeah.
That's kind of
Oh, damn it! I quit. I'm going home.
kind of it.
Y'all are here.
I can
I'm
do a little
done.
bit of like olive oil around here.
Let's get the staff
Yeah.
up here, guys. Marco,
Forks or
Susie.
something?
What's that?
Do we have forks or anything?
Sarah.
We have Sarah.
Sarah.
Josh's beautiful bride, Sarah's up here, along with his dog Pepper.
Yeah. I haven't even
Okay.
tasted it. It might not be good. I don't know. We'll see. But
Well, you know
It looks
what?
good.
Susie gets the first bite.
Okay, I'm gonna ruin the stack here.
do we have any forks of any kind? We don't. I got a spoon though. Here, watch this. We'll
Do
just.
we have any force even remotely? Oh,
So we don't
yeah,
even need
yeah.
it because it's tender enough. It should just fall
Wow,
apart.
that is just falling apart.
There you go. Just grab a little slice and then take a carrot and kind of
Okay.
a little bit of this and like a bite like that. That's a crudité in a way.
Okay, I'm gonna pull the one that doesn't have a lot of the crumbs.
Just try it, Susie. You'll be fine.
I'm going to.
You're not
to.
gonna die. You're
I-
okay.
I think we actually like the crumbs with it.
I think-
Okay.
I think-
Am I supposed to have this and the pork?
No, just try that, but get a crumb on there. You won't taste the fish. Don't worry.
Okay.
It'll add all it does is add depth to it. Don't smell it. Don't smell it. Just eat it. You're fine. Yeah, look at that. Oh, she's actually liking it.
I think it's more of like an in between. She
doesn't
That's
wanna show it.
actually that's actually pretty good. It doesn't taste fishy because it's like crispy.
It's like
like-
it's almost like Caesar salad in a way. Like it's got like
Oh,
Caesar
she
salad.
doesn't do that.
No, yes I do. Lots of Parmesan, but yes I do.
And then
No
grab a
fish,
little pork.
just lettuce and dressing.
No, but this is really very delicious.
That's our favorite comment as chefs. This is actually really delicious.
No, you know what?
It's like when a winery. Well, there's a lot going on in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't step outside the box very often. These guys have done a great job in making me try different things that I haven't tried before, and
Well,
I appreciate that because I'm
She's
broadening
you've
my
been here, what,
horizons.
how many years now? 6, 7.
Seven and a half.
So every year we get her to try one new thing at food wise. So we're like, now, last year was raw vegetables and hummus.
Mhm.
I mean, whatever. This year's carrots and anchovies.
No,
Yeah.
that's very good.
Yeah, I feel like we won.
Okay, and I will have a bite of this also because I'm all about meat. Okay, go guys.
Yeah, you gotta try the juice. Go for it, guys.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Mm.
And we're totally like
Mm.
practicing like super safe.
This is COVID friendly.
100%.
100% COVID friendly right now.
I just want to drink the juice off that plate. That's delicious.
It's not gonna
That is delicious.
have the whole pan behind me right now. That's what I'm eating.
Mm.
Great.
Ah,
She.
Mm.
Wanna try it?
I'm gonna run through the middle.
We started without you.
With some forks.
This-
Mm.
Josh's wife Sarah, she's been in the wings telling us when we've been doing stuff wrong, but she's joining us for food now. I'm kidding.
That is not true.
Welcome to
Mm.
Zilla.
That's awesome.
That shit's real good.
That is awesome. That's like fall apart awesome.
Mm.
You like the
They're
anchovies?
so good.
You know what? You missed it. I actually
Yes, you
did.
did.
I was really afraid. I was smelling it and
Because they don't add. You're not eating it for anchovies. You're eating it to add like a depth of flavor that's like underneath, right? It's
well, and you know
umami,
what?
Richness.
It's the crispiness. It's like I imagine
texture.
anchovies is
It-
like these little fish.
Well, they are a little fish.
No, I mean like an actual fish on your plate.
So good.
Well, that's a Caesar salad.
Okay.
So take take another carrot and then try it with the rosé that you have in your hand without having any of the pork after that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and try to get a couple of the
You can use a
breadcrumbs.
fork.
Okay.
It might-
Yeah, you can use a fork if you want to.
it helps you control it.
All right.
Okay.
What do you think? You said you don't even like
All right.
I don't, but I'd eat the entire plate of that.
All right.
Now try it with the rosé too, because that acid and that fruit should pair with that kind of umami style.
Mmm. Okay, that's really good.
All right.
We convinced
That's
her.
really good.
And there's no ranch dressing on there. We
But it-
fucking won.
But you know what though? It's a distant relative of ranch dressing. If ranch dressing had a relative in like maybe like Greece or Italy, be like, hey, what's up?
You're talking
Relative
about
from
the
Greece.
You're talking about the Greece rednecks, not the American rednecks.
Sarah and I have already talked, and we've already hired you for my 50th birthday coming up in December. So don't mark your calendar right now, December 3rd. You're going to be coming to my house.
Everybody hear this?
Yep, and you're going to cook something amazing.
Okay, great.
All right.
We'll do that.
Ranch dressing.
All right.
Right.
I'm gonna,
I think that is.
I'm gonna take,
Josh
I'm gonna
will
take
have
this
never
That's
out.
it.
cooked so.
That's
Josh
gonna
will have
be
never
it.
cooked so much with ranch dressing as Steve
I love
Bill on
ranch.
that night.
We'll have a ranch fountain.
On the
Oh,
ranch
God,
fountain. On the ranch fountain note, thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Josh and Sarah, for joining us.
Thank you, Julene, for the book in itself and the inclusion of that.
Yes,
Hanging
and
out Saturday night with us.
yeah, hanging out, augmented friends and family summer reunion. We really appreciate your joining us.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
You guys, thank you so much. Braden, Susie, Marcos, you guys, great job on everything. All your different pieces of what you guys are doing around here. Like, you know, you guys know this. It wouldn't operate without these three here. So, and then when we have friends that are like Josh and Sarah here, they're willing to come over and play for the night, makes it even that much better. So, one of these days, we'll actually be able to do this in the yard all together. But until then, thank you.
Thank
And
you.
if you joined us, please send us your feedback, you guys. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah, shout out to Refined Media for shooting this.
Yeah,
Killed it.
absolutely, man.
Yeah, we
you
love
guys
you guys,
rocked it,
man.
man.
We love you.
All right. Thanks much.
Thanks a lot,
Everyone have a good
guys.
evening.
All right,
Thanks, guys.
thanks. Hang loose.